well, so it just makes it a little bit harder than the very obvious golden horseshoes, but just having that fence down as they just come in on the tight turn in there. And again, with this round, with the winning round, just a little bit different as well, as you want a little bit of pace about this because you're looking to be not only clear but fast in the rest. And the fast four might get into round two as well, and in that second round they go back to 0. So quite a bit more strategy attached to this class into this double, which is, again, is just going to be a little bit easy if they just start to get a little bit pacey down there, to have one of those two verticals down. Back across to the Danish fence in the middle and to the horses' heads there. And then this final line, which just has fence 13 on a little bit of a right-hand angle coming out of it. You'll come down the double, and then a good bit of space to here to get to the last, which again you can move up to if you're just chasing that time, and finishing at the CP fence. Time allowed of 84 sees Mavis at 79.76 and 2 down for a total of 8 with Carlos BH as our starting combination here this morning. So it gives us a little bit of an idea. Time-wise, good at 79.76, but a couple down on the way for Mavis Spencer, our first of those to go in this Talis-sponsored winning round this morning. Connor Swale now, world number 5 with Theo 160 for the Irishman on the 10-year-old Holsteiner by Christian 25. And again, good run for him so far this week. Theo is team horse yesterday as well as part of the competitions for Major League Jumping. And Hannah Robson's alongside me to give us a few stats on Connor and Theo, where they sit at the moment.
This combination are so consistent at the minute, and it's lovely to see them jumping here once again. Connor, of course, was a key part of Team Eye Candy, helping them to that win in the Major League Show Jumping team competition yesterday. But this has been a very good horse for him recently. They've been in the top 10 12 times in competition since September, which I think is a pretty outstanding record. That includes 2 wins, one being at Traverse City and one being in Las Vegas in the Jacks or Better winning round classic. So they're very much a combination who are good on the clock, they're good at keeping the fences up, and this could be one that really suits them. Connor himself very much on form, not only consistent with this horse but with his other rides as well, and that's what keeps him in the world's very best.
Clear round for Connor Swale and Theo 160. The time 78.46 seconds. And there is our first pair of these riders that want to be the top 10 after the completion of the first round. And Rupert Winkelmann, the rider for Germany, for Conrad 155. Source owned by Eckendorf Horses of Wellington, Florida.
Rupert Winkelmann now and Conrad 155, the 9-year-old by Cristallo for Rupert, who started off on the first couple of days here in fine form, taking a little bit of a breather yesterday out of the team competitions, and now a good chance today for this, and of course Grand Prix to come later on today as well.
Yes, Rupert, a member of the Crusaders team. Not necessarily their day yesterday, but the leaderboard very much being shaken up yesterday. But Rupert's had a good week so far here. This horse jumped well for him in Monterey. He very rarely dropped more than 1 pole there. And actually we're seeing a really good rate of rounds for this horse, either being clear or just dropping the 1 pole. That's about 80% of the time for them. So as you were saying, you know, a fast 4 could be really valuable here, but it is all relative, and it's about the best 10 in the field. Of course, with 1 clear and 1 8, it's hard to tell at the moment how that will play out, but this combination certainly can jump the clears, and, you know, with several rounds under their belts recently, just dropping 1 pole, that could also be, potentially good. Not quite there for the
it just ends up on the stride they didn't want, just hesitant going in there. Doesn't work out for them. Of course, the fences drop away as they do, and unfortunately not to be there. I think he's probably not going to try and attempt that one again. Rupert Winkelmann there of Germany with Conrad 155. We'll go to get him back underway, but we'll see what he's going to do. He might just jump a vertical, which is what I thought he might do. Yeah, jumps nicely this time. Just unfortunately got had a stride down that line and just decides to retire for Rupert and Conrad. Luis Pedro Birabén now of Argentina, and Chapeau PSZ for the CA Sport Horses. An 8-year-old here by Comilfo Plus Z. And now for the Argentinian rider on this upcoming ride. This is another very good class coming through. You'll see a few horses here that might be of the 8 and 9-year-olds that next season may be aimed at the Grand Prix as well. But it's a really good big class for these horses to take a run at this big prize money as well. 74,000 just over.
Yeah, Luis has been jumping this horse in the 2-star competitions primarily in the run-up to this class and in the run-up to this week. So he's been jumping the horse in the 2-star Grand Prix in San Miguel de Allende, also in Monterrey over the 2 weeks there. Now steps the horse up to the 5-star level and was quite consistently jumping clears about 50% of the time in the 2-star classes, but he's going to call it a day here.
Yeah, calls an early end to the round there for Luis Pedro Birabén and Chapeau PSZ. See one of the faults coming there into the double and then deciding to stop at that point. Connor Swale going clear at 78.76. Like I say, clears, not even the guarantee with the clear because it's top 10 to go through, but looks a fast one to get them into that lineup. So Connor Swale, I would be very surprised if he isn't into round 2. Maybe Spencer on the 8 so far. A couple of others gone, but both retiring so far this morning.
www.talismakita.com.
And coming into view is Kristen van der Veen, Bull Run's Faustino Dittilli for the Bull Run Jumpers 5 LLC. The 17-year-old now by Berlin, known as Frosty, as we've seen this horse many times before. Super jumping combination, and this is one that could really suit them as well. Kristen, a lot of wins behind her from the US, twice competing at the World Cup finals as well. One that could keep up the pace with the likes of Connor Swale and Theo.
Yeah, Kristen, a really experienced competitor now with those World Cup finals under her belt. And Faustino Dittilli is another of the really good horses that she has at the moment. Very well bred horse as well with the Berlin and Darko breeding. This is the horse that she rode in the World Cup in Las Vegas recently. But she has done well with this horse in some 5-star jump-off classes, one in Toronto very recently and then one in Ottawa back at our Major League leg there in the summer, placing second in that competition as well.
Just unfortunately gets close to that line, so the Whittier Trust fence, but also that translates down that line to then flick away that very delicate skinny afterwards there, just with the green poles. Frosty's been one of the winning most horses in the US through his last few years, probably the last 5 years, notching up a long list of wins. Also going terrifically well always in the likes of Tryon in North Carolina. Just stretches out a little bit through that double and has the second part down. Little touch on the way. Good through the double. Going to get home though with at least 12 on the scorecard. Just going to get inside the time at 83.28. It's going to be 12 there for Kristen van der Veen and ball runs Faustino de Dilly. So still Connor Swell best on the board at the moment with Theo 160. And Nile Nassar of Egypt now. Jimny Cricket for the Evergate Stables, and it is an 11-year-old by Calestus. Nile, who spent a large part of his career as well competing over in California. Long time been American based now. Been competing over in Europe this season too. Has been moving between the two continents, competing in the top sport throughout, and will continue that in the run-up to Christmas. Just that's again just catch them out. It's just you can play with that distance a little bit, and it's just, as I say, not an easy pole to see either, with a plain green on the top.
Yeah, really quite difficult for them to judge. There are a couple of lines where they do need to be careful. I think that's demonstrated in the fact that we just have one clear so far.
Just nicely on the 5 down to the butterflies. Dan gets a move on down there, because again, he knows as well a fast 4 could still put them into the second round, so it's not done and dusted yet. Just trying to hold down that line again. That can just start to get ahead of yourself down there.
This pair have had some really good results this year so far, though. They've actually been in the top 10 18 times this year. One of those being a win in Spruce Meadows.
Yeah, if he can get home on a quick 4, he still has a chance of being into round 2, and will get home with that, finishing on the 4 in 80 seconds to be exact. And so is the second best score at the moment. Remember, Connor Swell was around in 78.46, but he was clear. And so Nile Nassar has to wait and see with Jimny Cricket whether he gets through to round 2. Now plays the waiting game for round 2. Connor Swallow says in there. It is Derek Kenny next, and Chic Chic for the Vlog Show Stables, the 11-year-old Westphalian by Comme Il Faut. A couple of those that we've seen down the lines of Comme Il Faut so far. Which is a very good stallion ridden by Marcus Aining. Going back to Retina's breeding as well. And good to see there. Dara is just so efficient around that. Just turn land, so smoothly done.
We often talk about the clear round percentage rates, but also the percentage rates of combinations being in the top 10, and actually this combination are really outstanding on that. Over fences of 1 metre 55, they're clear 50% of the time, 150, 57%, and over fences of 1 metre 60, 75% of the time clear and 100% of the time in the top 10.
Unfortunately not now. On
Not
the
today.
4 at the moment, just turns up tight to the horses, heads the golden horses heads down there and just clips a rail. Went very nicely down the line from 3 to 4, but again, they just extend a little out of the double and have a second rail. In fact, they're on 12 now. Two parts of that double. And I think he's going to say it's just not quite going to work out. We're not in the contention, so deciding to pull up there for Derek Kenny and Sheik Sheik. Very good combination, just doesn't quite work out this morning, so they will sit it out and deciding to retire for Derek Kenny.
Z is entry number 89, chosen by Fox Ridge Farms Stables.
Sean Jobin now, Coquelicot, Van Heert to Houvelan Z for the Foxridge Farm Stables, the 10-year-old biker Toki. For the Canadian rider, part of the Northern Lights team. First big full season on Major League Jumping this year.
Yeah, he's been a really key part of the Northern Lights team. He's ridden on the team several times and with this horse as well.
Another one just clips on there. The 5 just starts to get a little bit tight down there. And just steady coming into that double, and unfortunately has it down and just is deciding to take a circle as well. Yeah, hands going up. He's deciding to retire as well. A few of those this morning. And deciding to retire there with Coquelicot with Sean Jobin. So, of the scores so far, Connor Swale on the clear, Niall Nassar on the 4, Mavis Spencer on the 8, Kristen Van Veen on the 12 of those completed. Emma Marlowe now. And Cherokee being a big part of the teams for the Trailblazers this season. Rode into one of the finals just a few weeks ago as well. And Emma riding this horse for the Trelawney Farm, the 15-year-old Dutch bred horse by Cardente.
Yes, very important part of the Trailblazers team, and helped them to a really good podium finish back in Vancouver as well. Trailblazers, of course, with those 4 new riders following the mid-season transfer window. And they've really come up with that fresh injection of talent in the second half of the season. Of course, she rode on the Eye Candy team in 2021. This combination are clear about 50% of the time. Nice and balanced down to fence 4, the skinny fence there, and manages it well.
Another one just clips the back this time. I thought she got enough space looking from here of where she'd got to that, but unfortunately just clips onto the back rail. So again, the 4 falters are starting to play a bigger part here. We'll see. We've got a good way to go yet. But bear in mind, Emma Marlowe was, 9th on our starting order. So we've got another 20 or so to go. But top 10 to go forward to round 2. But only the one clear so far. Just a second rail leaves the back leg onto the vertical there for Cherokee.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously we've had a winning round class at various legs, well, all legs this season so far. And in some of them we've had more than 10 clears.
Yeah.
And in some of them we've had 1 clear.
Yes.
Back in Toronto, in fact, we just had the 1 clear round and then had fast 4s and 8s going through to the second round.
Well, finishing on 8 there at 83.32. 8, I would be surprised if it gets them through, but we will see. Emma Marlowe and Cherokee, again, not much of a touch. More of a firm bounce out of the cups for the double there, again, as they stretch out down that line. Just comes on the 4 strides down to a double of verticals. Gets them opened up and then just catches them with the verticals on the way out. Erin Ballard, Kilana Denfer for Elan Ferda, the 9-year-old French-bred mare now by Kidam de Revel. This is one I'd be looking closer to for a potential good round. We'll see. Connor Swale with the only clear so far, top 10 to return. And say in the second round they do go back to 0, so that's where if you've got 4 faults right now, you're in the game.
Yeah, very much so. And as you say, this is certainly a horse that we might look to for a very good round here. Erin's got a couple of very good rides here, Gakir being the horse that she rode in the team competition yesterday for Team Lugano as well. This horse jumped really well in Toronto, actually, at Angelstone tournaments. 2 double clears jumped there, but we've seen this horse at various legs, and I think the horse is really well adapted to competing on all sorts of different arenas. We've seen good results throughout the year from this combination. Also performed very well at Spruce Meadows, having 3 top 10 finishes there.
Good through here. Has she got it right? Yes, she has. Moves at a good rhythm so far for Erin as well with Kilana. Oh, and just stretches out there and clips the Danish fence, as I call it, because it's one that was used at the Europeans in 2013 in Denmark. That's where that design came from. Just going to finish on the 4 there. Still in the running at the moment on 82.01. 4 there for Erin Ballard and Kilana Denfer. So 4 for them puts them as the 3rd best at the moment. Connor Swale on the clear, Niall Nasser on the 4, Erin Ballard on the 4, then down to Mavis Spencer on the 8 at the moment.
That first combination of fence number 5A and 5B with the Golden Horse at Sanders. Gotcha and Simon McCarthy. Ride rides internationally for Ireland.
Simon McCarthy now and Gotcha for the Rock Ridge Farms of Norman, Indiana. The 11-year-old Holsteiner by Staccato for the Irishman, who's been one of the key riders for the team, for Team Helios throughout the season. 3 times he's been on the winning squads there as well. And for those following for the team competition, just to remind you that final stage comes up next week on Thursday. The lead for Helios down to 3 points now, so just keep an eye on that one because it's going to be double points on the final and very close. In the meantime, very nicely done through there for Simon. This is where it's caught a few. And he looks as though he's got that right.
Yeah, they've been really successful in the team competition, actually, and jumped mainly clears in the team competition. They're about 50% of the time clear in other competitions. They've had some good wins at Traverse City earlier on in the year, but it's been nice to see them, as you say, contributing to the wins for Team Helios.
It's been a big step up here year for him as well. He's just established himself well into these bigger shows. Good opportunity, and this one going cruising well at the moment. Just steadies the pace down the line there on the 6 down to the double. Picks up again to the CP fence and looks good. 78.73, and Simon McCarthy notches up a good run around there with Gotcha, and in fact just a fraction slower than Connor Swale, so goes into 2nd so far for Simon McCarthy. Connor Swale is the best of the clears at the moment on 78.46. Niall Nasser in the 3rd position at the moment with Jiminy Cricket.
Next horse, and that is Picador. This horse owned by Lawn Farm of Newark, New Jersey. Right there, that is Jordan Coyle. For Ireland.
Jordan Coyle now of Ireland. Picador, 15-year-old by Lupicor. Again, it's often been his team horse as well. A number of times now he's been into that final stage, competing for the Spy Coast team, but plenty of wins he's notched up this season for him, and of course the Grand Prix winner here last year as well with, of course, Ariso.
Yeah, I should think he'll really be a competitor to watch in the Grand Prix. As you say, won here last year with Ariso, also won in Vancouver, the 5-star Grand Prix with Ariso. He had a win earlier on this week in a 5-star jump-off class with Picador as well. And as you say, it's very frequently his team horse, and he's been selected to be the medal jump-off rider for the team 3 times now, I believe.
Yeah, it just gets a little unbalanced coming into that double, has that fence down. So on the 4 for Jordan as well. Again, the good thing is here, he's going quite quickly, but needs care through this double, which he gets. Takes that easily enough. So he's moving on to try and get himself a fast 4 and still in the reckoning for this class. And so if you think of it as qualifying, then it makes a little bit more sense. Just one fence to go, and it's going to be quick. Looks good, and it's going to be very quick at 75.16, fastest we've seen so far, but with one fence down on the 4 there for Jordan Coyle. But puts himself into 3rd at this stage. So Connor Swale, Simon McCarthy, Jordan Coyle top 3 at the moment. So he now gets ahead of Nal Nasser's time of 80 seconds. So moves him down into 4th. So that top 10 starts to take a little bit more of a shape. Tali de Jong now, and Valiant de Bellevue for the 13-year-old horse by Calum Duplessis for our next go for a young rider for the USA.
This is the horse that Tali rode to the Youth Nations Cup final last year. Very prestigious competition for young riders. She's jumped the winning rounds in a couple of our major league legs already this season, one being in Vancouver, and then a couple, one at Traverse City. And she's jumped in the 5-star competitions at Spruce Meadows with this horse as well.
Just on the 4 at the moment. Who's up on the 4? Gets a nice shot in there, just a little rub on the way in.
Slightly close, but good to keep the pace up.
Yeah, good confident run at it.
Yeah.
Just unfortunately cuts a little short there to have the back bar down. Ooh, just getting a little quick down that line, just getting a little fired up coming down there, and unfortunately pace gets the better of them and has the last as well. So 78.08, total of 16 there for Tali de Jong in the end, with Valiant de Bellevue on 78.08, so 16 the final score.
Natalie Dean aboard Camilla D. Camilla D owned by Marigold Sport Horses of Palo Alto.
Natalie D now of California, also Palo Alto, California to be exact. Marigold Sport Horses, Camilla D, the 11-year-old by Kashmir van der Schutershoff for Natalie on Team Logano that finished well yesterday in the end. So after her riding the winning round back in Ottawa, picking up some space there, finishing into 2nd spot yesterday.
Yeah, Natalie's been chosen for that winning round twice actually now, and yeah, clinched the win for them in Ottawa and helped them to the 2nd place yesterday, which I'm sure is a real boost for Team Logano, because it hasn't been the easiest of years for them as a team.
Just sitting, getting balanced for this line. Yeah, nicely done down there. Nice balanced, good rhythm down between 3 and 4. Gets a wide run here to get herself some space into this double. Wanted to just try to turn up quite quick to that again, thinking about time, and that's cost them. Again, once you're a little bit further into the class, you can start to see how the scores are shaking out too, which also helps the strategy a little bit. You just need to know whether you're going for a fast clear, or maybe you can just give yourself a little bit more breathing room.
And she's done well in the winning round competitions before. She was 4th in the winning round competition at Traverse City back in August. Quite a few people having fence 10 down, especially the front rail.
Yeah, you're just going away to turn back again. You just take it a tiny little bit on an angle and just leaves you a fraction close. There you go. Another one down for them as well into the double. So going to be on the 8 there. 80.18, it's 8 there for Natalie Dean and Camilla Dean. So still the clears looking very strong with the top 10 to return. We've got 10 now in the list with 16 faults, with Tyler de Jong sitting in 10th place at the moment, and of course Connor Swale at the top on the clear on 78.46. Those in the middle, so they'll start to drop off that list now, but we're up to what, our 15th of the order so far, of 30 or so to see this, so just around the halfway stage. So it looks like the clears are going to be a little bit more sparing this time.
Yeah, there are a couple of places around the course where we're seeing the fences fall. A couple of issues, certainly the skinny fence at fence 4 causing problems, the Golden Horsehead double, and of course actually the double on the far side of the arena as well as fence 10. So they're quite evenly spaced, aren't they? Yeah, all over the
good spread around.
Course.
Carrie Reefer then with Mr. Europe for the Morningstar Sport Horses, again based here in California. The 13-year-old Dutch bred gelding by Mr. Blue for Carrie. Busy morning for her. And of course, a lot of the riders here also that are based here have got national horses competing too, so they're off in that ring, back in here. And she unfortunately has that fence down, like quite a few so far. But again, Four Faults is very much in the game at the moment, if they can keep it that. But unfortunately, they're also caught by the Golden Horses Heads fence. Statues, should I call it that? It sounds better than.
Sounds very grand.
Sounds better than a horse's head.
But this combination have performed well here earlier on this year as well. They were second in a 3-star Grand Prix here back in February, and they also won a 3-star 2-phase competition here as well. They then came second in a 2-star winning round class here earlier in the year as well.
Yeah, just having another one down in the double, and Carrie deciding that it's not to be today, so deciding to retire there with Mr. Europe. So still Tyler de Jong in 10th position at the moment. Connor Swale still ahead of the pack at the moment, but only just into the number 1 spot. Simon McCarthy close on his heels. They're looking pretty secure for round 2. Lorcan Gallagher, Copycat, pairing that looked really tidy earlier on this week as well. Be interested to see how they feature here for the Lost Lake Farm, the 9-year-old Westphalian by Comme Il Faut. Running over here in California, going to base here for a little while as well. We'll head back to, mainly spent most of their jumping over in Florida. A series of shows, of course, here, those that follow the sport, that run through into next year as well, January, February, March. It's been a busy period up to this point too. Of course, California lending itself so nicely with Californian weather to be competing in.
Yeah, perfect conditions really here with the beautiful sunshine, but it's a really nice temperature for the horses to jump in as well.
Another one that just struggles into that double. Yeah, the Californian winter I can live with.
Yeah, very much so. Lorcan performed really well with this horse in the Whittier Trust 5-star, the jump-off competition that we had earlier on this week. He was in the top 12 in that competition, but got through to the jump-off, and there were a good number into the jump-off there. And he's really started to step the horse up to 5-star level. In fact, this week is his first week of 5-star competition with this horse.
Yeah.
But the horse has competed to 5-star level before with Stephanie Holman, the Swedish rider.
But no, it's been a really nicely developing combination together. Good to see Lorcan with another top ride again. and just dropped short there. But as I say, this will be a good week for them to take some experience away from as a pairing. Goes to a total of 12 in the end, 80.14 for Islands Lorcan Gallagher and Copycat this time. And in fact, just confirming it at 8, I thought it was, is on the 8 there for Lorcan Gallagher and Copycat.
It looked like the final fence jumped, the pole jumped up and then back into the cups.
Yeah.
He certainly rattled it.
There we go. Well, it's been confirmed. It's 8 for Lorcan Gallagher and Copycat. Amy Miller, Cristiano for the Future Adventures, 12-year-old by Canoso for the Canadian Olympian for the Eye Candy squad. Of course, they're bubbling along after yesterday's good result as well, getting close to that lead in the championship for the team competition, but today's all about the individuals. And Amy Miller here would be one with a very good shot at this, with just the 2 clears so far. The 4 falters taking us down to halfway point at 5th place at the moment, then the 8 falters after that. So again, as you go a little bit further down here, like I say, you start to get a little bit of an idea that, well, you can be, you don't have to be quite as attacking maybe as some of those early rounds might have had to be just thinking about the time, because we've had, as you say, somewhere we'd have more than 10 clears, and so you don't want to be a sedate clear and then still sitting twiddling your thumbs after round 1. Going nicely so far for Amy.
Yeah, but as you say, this is another combination that you might pull out of the lineup as one that could go through to the next round, because they very rarely drop more than 1 pole. Clear about 50% of the time, and actually she's had wins with Cristiano at several of our major league legs, especially in the opening classes. She's won in Toronto and at Traverse City as well. But of course, that's just a small part of the success of Amy's career, and especially with Cristiano as well.
Looks good. Looks very good. A really nice balance round there for Amy Miller and Cristiano. 79.31 here and down that final line. And then they just pick up for the last, and it's clear. 79.31 puts them as the 3rd best score at the moment, so behind Connor Swale and Simon McCarthy. But Amy Miller in the lineup takes Emma Marlowe into 10th place now on the 8 falls at 83.32 with Cherokee.
Luxury hospitality landscape in the Coachella Valley. Located at the best of the Santa Rosa.
Lovely shot of the mountains up behind on this Sunday morning. The Ironman competition's also taking place in La Quinta this morning, so plenty of poor souls are out there cycling and swimming and doing whatever else they're doing. Good luck to them this morning. We, in the meantime, will be having our own tough competition here on the grass, but thankfully won't need quite the same endurance, but certainly plenty of athleticism for those competing here. You see a lovely spot here for this new grass arena that was created last season here and added to the Desert Horse Park list of super venues here. Of course, we're going to be over in the stadium next week as well. But it's looking really well established now, and with just a little wisp of cloud up there in the blue sky, it is a stunning morning here in California.
It's lovely and clear, actually. It's been a little bit hazy on a couple of the other mornings, but you, as you say, you can really see those mountains so clearly this morning. Perfect conditions.
Perfect conditions. And just waiting a moment for our next to come up. Just a reminder, later on, Grand Prix coming up as well, and that will conclude this first week here at the Desert International Horse Park. And one of the, of course, 2 weeks competition, so 2 Grand Prix to see, and next week that will be an evening class, but today going to be 1 o'clock here today, local time for the Grand Prix. Next week it goes into being an evening class, 6 o'clock. Next week, $450,000 on the prize fund next week for the Grand Prix as well, so a major 5-star there. Lots of money on this week's too, over $215,000 for that. Those are the ones still to come. Juan Ortiz, Daniel Coyle, Alberto Michel, Bliss Hears, Kyle King, Vanessa Mannix, Alec Lawler, Cassio Vetti, James Arkins, to take us just a few of those that are yet to come in this class. And a few more to add on to the list there with Lily Keenan, Paul O'Shea, Jacqueline Steffens will be into the what would be the next page of that to take us into the final few.
Right now, 10th position, Emma Marlowe and Cherokee. I'd like to mention that, the 10th position, but that is the top 10 qualified for the winning round, and that will be the jump-off round. So these riders, they want to stay in the top 10. One of the 10 best performances.
Juan Ortiz, now Vintage, the Venezuelan rider with the 11-year-old Holsteiner by Verdi.
Yeah, once again, we've seen Vintage in quite a few of the Major League legs this year already, and just another combination that's been going from strength to strength. One has a few horses. He's been competing in the 5 stars. This is another of these larger horses that he tends to ride. And this is an arena that could potentially suit this horse. He was actually 8th in the 5-star winning round class at Traverse City and jumped clear for the Show Plus Northern Lights with Vintage there as well. Horse was successfully competed by Enrique Camaruaga of Spain recently as well, but Juan's done some really great things with this horse to really develop the pace a little bit more, and really the horse is fantastic over the bigger fences. Certainly doesn't have any issue clearing the height.
Can't stand short on the Oxer. So again, he's just 4 foot still standing a chance. He's just going to be on the steadier time for time. Going to be around the sort of just over 80 mark. Was time lad 84. Just needs to keep coming to get inside that. May just nose into that time line. No, he's okay at 83.25. So goes with a score of 8 though there, unfortunately, for Juan Ortiz in the end. And Vintage will finish on 8. So takes them into 10th place now.
So far with the best score, Connor Swale and Theo 160. Simon McCarthy sitting in second aboard Concha. Amy Miller and Cristiano in third, fourth. Jordan Coyle and Picador, Al Nassar and Jimmy Cricket.
So Juan Ortiz into 10th place. It's Connor Swale in the number 1 spot at the moment, going in reverse order. Clears from Simon McCarthy and Amy Miller in this winning round class.
Natalie Dean and Camilla D. Juan Ortiz just moved into 10th. Then 10th with a neat fall score at the time 83.25 seconds. This is our Talis $74,200 winning round competition. And Talis is a proud sponsor of the Desert International Horse Park. So remember, this is a winning round. Top 10, come back to that second round, and then come back to the second round. You come back with a clean slate as well. All right, the horse owned by Aero Grange out of Terracon, Ontario. Daniel Coyle aboard Ivory TCS.
Daniel Coyle now and Ivory TCS, this 9-year-old for Ariel Grange, the mare by Feliz de Muse. Good set of results so far this week for Daniel, and for him could well build on that here. Daniel to potentially chase down Connor Swale's time if he's heading for that, 78.46, but a clear at the moment, puts you in a strong position. Nice 9-year-old here for Daniel, and just unfortunately reaches out at the first and has that down.
Yeah, Daniel just coming off the left lead to the first fence. Obviously felt that that was the better approach for Ivory. This horse has been going very well for him recently. He had a win and a second place in Las Vegas. Second in the World Cup there. And had a win in a 4-star 2-phase class there. He's also jumped well with this horse in Lexington recently. And also in Dublin in the summer. He was 5th in the Speed Championship there. He also took this horse to Valkenswaard in the summer and had a second place in a 5-star speed class there as well. It's a really good partnership now, and one that Daniel's had for quite a while. It's a very good time.
Yeah, very good time, finishing on the forward, 70.87. It is 4 there for Daniel Coyle and Ivory TCS. So takes him into the lineup so far. It's the fastest of the 4s. So into 4th position at the moment for Daniel, with a good shot for him.
Juan Ortiz does not spend a lot of time in the top 10. So Patsy's bags. 10th position, Natalie Dean and Camila Dean.
Alberto Micha now and Bugatti. So we saw the winning classes in Monterey just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, Alberto's had some great rounds in our Mexican legs in the earlier 5-star competitions in the weeks. He's had some wins in those. Bugatti is a 16-year-old horse now, so pretty established ride for him. Pretty established horse. One that was previously competed by Wilhelm Genn of Germany. He's been in the top 10 a good few times with this horse, aside from the wins as well in Traverse City, and also jumped well in Ocala. He's also had podium finishes in Traverse City at the Major League leg, and also in Ottawa with this horse as well.
Looks like deciding to retire there as well, just not working out on this round for them. Has done many times before, but Alberto Michan and Bugatti deciding to retire.
And we're there and retiring Alberto Michon and Bugatti. We're on the horse owned by Bridgeside Farms. Las Vegas Blizzards aboard. Goodbye.
Bliss says now of the USA, and goodbye for the Bridgeside Farms of Las Vegas, Nevada, the 11-year-old Dutch bred mare by El Dorado. Again, gone very well. I think she even won one of these classes earlier on in the season, but went very well in them anyway in the winning rounds with Goodbye. Of course, Grand Prix winner with Antidote Tomas back a few weeks ago in Mexico too for Bliss.
Yeah, extremely good back in Mexico. In fact, she jumped very well there last year and this year. But great to see her get that 5-star Grand Prix win in Mexico. She jumped very well in Vancouver at the Nations Cup show with Goodbye as well. Had a good second place in a 5-star jump-off class there. She also performed well with this horse in Saint-Tropez a few months ago. In a 2-phase and in a speed class. Just again, another rider having a little bit of an issue with the gold statues double. This has ridden goodbye on the Team Helios as well, helping them to one of their 5 wins.
Just on the 4 at the moment, still stands a very good chance of being in that top 10 yet. And will be just over the 80 mark, 81.25 for their Bliss Here's and goodbye. Lovely shot of them over the last, and they will finish on 4. Where do they go at the moment? They go into 7th place at this point, so still in the game at the moment. Lorcan Gallagher is now sitting in 10th on Copycat on the 8 faults at 80.14.
Out of the zone for the rider for the USA. This is Kyle King. Edelon is the original by Chris.
Kyle King and Echelon has been a winner in these classes in recent weeks with the chestnut 13-year-old Dutch bred horse by Ottongelo. Kyle, good shot for him here. Again, back on home ground over here on the West Coast. Still got some very strong ones to come up. Vanessa Mannix, Alec Lawler, James Arkins, Cassio Rivetti. Down to, we're going to see Lily Keane, I think, a little bit later on. Yep, with a Ghana. And Paul O'Shea with a lovely looking Caracina in this lineup.
Yeah, Kyle King's gone so well with Etalon recently. 2 5-star wins very recently in our Major League legs. Goes very well in these winning round competitions. And speaking to him earlier in the week, he was saying that this ring very much suits this horse. He's had the opportunity to ride on the ring in the past. And in fact, I believe he said he was one of the first people to ride on this ring and did so with this horse.
Yeah, but unfortunately has that fence down.
Kyle's also won 3-star Grand Prix with this horse, one in Vancouver back in August. He's also done well in San Miguel with this horse. But yeah, the win's coming in Monterey.
Just on the 4 at the moment. Still a quick 4 as well. Leaves the last to leave them at 76.46, finishing on 4 there for Kyle King and Echelon. So just the skinny coming down for them. Leaves them on the 4 faults. And they will sit currently in our group into, what about 6th place at the moment. And so still in the game. Mavis Spencer in the 10th spot at the moment on the 8 with Carlos BH. So the 4 faulters playing more of a part now. Aaron Ballard comes after that on the 4 faults as the steadiest of them at 82.01. Vanessa Mannix now kitting de Hausseur for the 12-year-old by Winning Mood. And that's a very good run that she had in Mexico, finishing top 3 in the Grand Prix there.
Yeah, finished well there with a couple of her other rides. This horse, she's been competing around Canada quite recently at Spruce Meadows and in Vancouver. And in fact, she's been in the top 10 6 times out of our last 7 competitions. She brought the horse to Sacramento in October. Now remains in the USA with a trip here to Thermal. Again, a key rider for the Show Plus Northern Lights. Not quite their day yesterday. But Vanessa, the rider who's becoming more and more consistent over the weeks and now getting the horse more established at 5-star level as well.
Unfortunately, not the one they wanted the last. Finish on a total of 8 there at 81.03.
8 jumping fault, 81.03 seconds. 81.03 8 jumping fault. Currently, they are not in our top 10.
And so down the line, what about 10 left to come in this class? Mavis Spencer just in the 10th spot at the moment on the 8, so just edges out that of Vanessa Mannix. Natalie Dean was just a little bit quicker as well. She misses out too, as does Lorcan Gallagher at the moment. Violetta, a little less experienced in these big classes for Alex. Of course, we've seen him with 4 gold and included that Grand Prix win in Travesty. Another one just caught out by that line. It is just a really tricky one down there.
Yeah, just a partnership that's now I'm sure we're going to start seeing come together. The horse has been competed extensively by Michael Grieve of the Netherlands, up to 5-star competitions in Valkenswaard, Knokke-Hepeek, Rotterdam, St Gallen, Rome over the summer. So good few top-level competitions there. Generally the horse is jumping 4 and 8 faulting rounds, or was with Michael. But Alec has been going so well, as you say, with 4 gold.
And so we'll leave on the 881.28. So just unfortunately not fast enough to make the top 10 so far. Maybe Spencer just in on the 8 at the moment, 79.76. And so still top 10, looking the same as it was with Connor Swale at the top of it. Maybe Spencer just getting in at this stage. Probably unlikely to go through. The 8 falters may well drop out. Some of the 4s yet we may well see just stripping out of the game. But I think we're going to see a 4 falters in there as well, maybe with Daniel Coyle and Jordan Coyle up there as well, the 2 brothers. But of course they would go back to 0 as well. Arturo Parada and Pandora for the Mexican rider, the 14-year-old Hanoverian. Now let's see whether he can book his place in the jump-off. Tricky course so far as it's proved.
Yeah, interesting just to have the 3 clears so far, and you pick out Jordan and Daniel there as being the 2 fastest 4 falters, and potentially ones to watch in terms of time in the second round if they get through there. Pandora 258 though is a horse that Arturo's had a couple of wins with earlier on this year, 1 in Puebla and 1 in Guadalajara, those coming at the 2-star level. He's been jumping the horse in the 5 stars though in San Miguel and in Monterrey. In fact, jumping on the team competition for the Roadrunners as well in San Miguel. Generally clear about 25 to 30% of the time. Got quite a good pace up here. But I'm sure he's aware that with a fence down he needs an eye on the clock.
Absolutely. So keep coming, and he's still in this. Just got to leave the last up, and he'll do that. So finishing on the 4 at 78.36 for Arturo Parada and Pandora 258. So he will go into 7th place at the moment. Takes Erin Ballard down into the 10th place now with the 4 falters. So the 4 falters or better are in this now. So the last the eightfalters drops out there with Mavis Spencer and Carlos BH. Erin Ballard in 10th position on 82.01. Cassia Ravetti now, Nadal van Dopenheide, the 9-year-old for Alarm Fed by Zilver Star T. Also back to the line of Winning Mood. It's out of a mare by Winning Mood. Right about 9 left to go in the first round of this Talis Winning Round 5-star.
First international competition for Casio with this horse, and Erin Ballard sits in 10th place, and she is the rider who's been competing this horse most recently. Jumping the horse up to the 5 stars in Miami, in fact. And prior to that, the horse was with a Swedish rider, Sophia Westborg.
Just getting a little quicker down there, leaves it in place. Again, he knows quick 4 here can still leave them a chance at this class. That's where the strategy gets interesting, but again, you've just got to take enough care. Nicely down the 6-stride line to the double. Might just not be quick enough. We'll see. Might 80.74, so will be quick enough to make the top 10 at the moment. So actually goes into 9th place there. 80.74 on the 4. 9th spot. Bliss Here's now into 10th on 81.25. Connor Swale still sitting pretty at the top with the clear at the moment. But remember, these all go back to 0. So suddenly it makes it a lot harder. Were they carrying the scores through? It would be a little bit easier, but it's all about qualifying into that round. So, Cassia Ravetti books in his place at the moment, but has to wait and see because there's around 6 or 7 left to come at him yet. James Arkins of Australia made the move over to the US now with Jovaro N for this 8-year-old Dutch-bred mare for Joe, and for James rather, and Jovaro is an upcoming combination sit potentially against Eurostar, which is his very good horse that he took right the way through to the World Championships this year.
Yeah, this horse is by H5 Alvaro. And yeah, another one having a problem with the skinny fence at 4.
Yeah, again, would be a little less experienced coming into this class. So again, they'll sort of see how they go. It gives them a good measure here and a good experience for them.
Yeah, they're another combination that jumped in Las Vegas quite recently, just a couple of weeks ago. Had a 2nd and a 3rd place finish there. And again, been jumping in Spruce Meadows as well, and up to the 5-star level there, but still just the horse finding his feet, being just an 8-year-old.
Overall, good finish, and it will be on 12.82.93, but the 8-year-old Jovaro N and James Arkins. A little bit of a mixed emotion there. Will be a little disappointed with the score, but also good round for them to get that under their belt into these 5 stars for James and the 8-year-old there. Croyd now, and Cactus de Conier, one of the young riders coming through, and Eric. Now, not seen too much of him this week. Good chance in this class, though, with the 10-year-old by Paddock Duplessis.
Yes, a very talented young rider. I think we were saying the other day about his successes in the North American Youth Championships. Of course, cementing the bronze medal for his team this year. Also jumped in the Youth Nations Cup final in Kronenberg this year with this horse and was on the winning Challenge Cup team there. Also was 5th in the Grand Prix in Kronenberg with this horse. He's had 5-star wins in a jump-off class at Spruce Meadows in the summer as well, and had top 10 finishes at Wellington earlier on in the year as well. Eric is ranked 126th in the under 25 jumping rankings. Of course, he was on the bronze medal winning team at the North American Youth Championships. He was also 11th individually. Was just getting a little bit flat down that line on the far side.
Well, I think, yeah, raises the hand, decides to retire there for Eric Crawford, and Cactus de Cunier for the Canadian.
Those years and goodbye, and he still hold on to 10th place. The horse owned by iCandy LLC of Wellington, Florida. And Jacqueline Steffens aboard Cat.
Jacqueline Steffens now, and Cat Ninja for the iCandy team. 14-year-old mare, Dutch bred by VDL Zorocco Blue. Again, Jacqueline, winner of one of these classes, I think even Ottawa earlier on this year as well for her. But also been a big part of the team for the iCandy squad. Stepped off the squad this week. I think might well make an appearance for the final next week. We will see. Jacqueline Steffens daily then, and Cat Ninja. Still those top 10 looking like this. Bliss Here's in 10th place on the 4-fold stage, 1.25 with Goodbye. And Connor Swale still at the best. They're safe home and hosed at the moment, because we've got less than 9 left to come as well in the order at the moment. So they're going to be in that. Clears, there's not been too many of those. 3 of those, Amy Miller, Simon McCarthy and Connor Swale. So 2 actually fellow iCandy team riders. Another one caught out by that line again. It's just a little tough line to get. Gets a little bit tight down there, and there we go. And similarly for that fence that's fallen on a regular basis. And I think she's going to pull up at this point. Yeah, she's going to raise her hand. She knows. You might get 1 or 2 at this point doing that, because they know they're not in the group, they're not in the lineup. And again, 14 years of age, horse has nothing to prove if you've had a couple down. It is going to be sitting out then for Jacqueline Steffens as they head out with Cat Ninja. Just 6 left to go in the first round of this Talus winning round 5-star.
And $74,200 on the line here in the Talus winning round. Talus is changing the luxury hospitality landscape in the Coachella Valley. Located at the best of the Santa Rosa Mountains, 100
and just walking up there is Lily Keenan, Agana Van Hes Garandel Z. Agana being a really top 5-star horse for Lily. Lily are riding a wave of good success in the last few weeks, from that Monterey Grand Prix win to the World Cup qualifier in Las Vegas as well. A chance here back on the turf. Of course, we'll be into our Grand Prix a little later on. That's going to be at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
And a couple of good results, as you mentioned there, being with different horses as well. Of course, the World Cup win being with Agana Van Het Garandel. She also won a speed class at Las Vegas with this horse as well. And then the Monterey 5-star Grand Prix win coming with Queensland. She also finished in the top 8 in the in a 3-star Grand Prix at Dinard back in the summer as well. And then also did well with this horse at the London International Horse Show at the back end of last year too.
Absolutely.
Two top 10 finishes there. Show formerly known as Olympia Horse Show.
Well, it's a new venue since the change of name. Yes, Excel now. Really nice and balanced back to this Marshall and Sterling fence. Now this key line, she's just setting up for this. Just going to come quietly down there. 5, yeah. Just enough pace coming in. Nicely done so far. Set up for the vertical at 6. Just gets a little bit more movement on after the butterflies to make up some ground. But again, going later on, they can see how important the clears are. Always aiming for a clear, of course, but you can see whether you're going to have to go for a fast clear here, whether you're going to make it in, or whether the clears are going to be very easily in which they are at this stage.
I mean, she's probably done the maths and worked out that actually a clear here would guarantee her a spot in the next round.
Exactly. You're always aiming for a clear anyway, but as you say, you just don't have to race. But she's getting a nice pace to this. This is looking very nicely indeed. Amongst the top few at 79.62, Lily Keenan and Garner Van Head Garandel said goes clear and goes the slowest of the clears so far. But 79.62 will mean that she will be back for round 2 with 5 left to go in the first round. So Lily Keenan set to return with Garner, with Aggie. Cassia Rivetti now in 10th place on the 4 faults at 80.74.
5 left, just a handful remaining here in the Italis win round. Right for the USA, Kendall Bourgeois, aboard Cleveland M. For example, by Cameron Brown of Westland, Oregon.
Kendall Bourgeois, Paul O'Shea, Patricia Pascal, Caitlin Campbell, and Anna Duff left to go. Kendall Bourgeois now, Flinton M, the 12-year-old Dutch bred horse by Clinton for the California local riders.
Yeah, this is Kendall's first 5-star show with the horse. She again jumped in Las Vegas, as many of these riders did. She was 9th in a 4-star 2-phase competition there, and she's been successful at 2 and 3-star level in Vancouver, Petaluma in California, and then in Vancouver last year as well. In Sacramento, she was 5th in the World Cup there. That was in October of this year. But relatively lightly competed in international competition. Only 16 classes actually across 2021 and 2022 for this combination.
Just going to finish on the 4 at 80.27, 80.24 rather. Puts her into 10th place, the moment for Kendall Bourgeois and Flinton M. So she goes into 10th place at the moment, just hanging on there with 4 left to go. So Kendall goes into 10th, takes out Cassia Rivetti. And those, 4 left, so those that are safe are then 6 upwards. Those that are still in the danger zone, Kyle King, Arturo Parada, Nal Nassar, and Kendall Bourgeois. As we go to Paul O'Shea now, Carosina HD, an 11-year-old from the Trelawney farm, and looking very good earlier on this week on this Holsteiner mare by Carico.
Paul, of course, the rider who clinched the win for Eye Candy yesterday.
Again.
Second time he's done that, yeah.
Lovely to see this combination coming together. Of course, very new combination, but looked very tidy early on in the week and seeming very at home on the grass so far.
Yeah, new combination. They finished in the top 5 twice together already. And then now getting a bit more to grips with each other here. This horse was ridden by Sasha Nygaard Andreasen of Denmark prior to Paul taking over the ride.
Just unfortunately has the in part of the in and out down. So a little bit more movement here will get him still into round 2 if he leaves the fences up. So he needs to be quicker than 80.24 to get himself into round 2 at the moment. Oh, and unfortunately, just lightly the back end of that double drops off as well. So that's going to put them on the 8. But again, for them with a new pairing together, this is a good class to get some good mileage in together too.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see this pair over the next 6 months or so. Time is looking very good. Unfortunately, it's going to be an 8 score rather than a 4. His time would have been good enough to get into that top 10 had they stayed at the 4. There was the first 4. The second, though, coming at that vertical double, the 2 verticals. And so on the 8 there, Paul O'Shea, Caracina HD. So Kendall Bourgeois staying in 10th place at the moment, and Flinton on the 4 at 80.24. A few more safe combinations now. In fact, we've got 3 left to go. So Patricio Pascal, Caitlin Campbell, and Anna Duff left on the list so far. So those still in danger are Dora Parada, Nal Nasser, and Kendall Bourgeois. Rest are safe and in. Carl King, Jordan Coyle, Daniel Coyle, Lily Keenan, Amy Miller, Simon McCarthy, and Connor Swale. Patricio Pascal and Cover Blue, 9-year-old. It was actually his final, if you like, ride in the team competition a few weeks ago as well. Rode in the final in the battle there.
Yeah, good addition to the Trailblazers team, who've been coming up in the second half of the season. Cabba Blue is an interesting horse in terms of riders formerly, former riders on his CV. Jordan Coyle on there, as well as Nicolas Toro of Colombia, Nikolai Heinroos of Denmark, and Simon Nisri, who still owns the horse. And Patricio now taking the horse up to the 5-star level as he did in Mexico as well.
Just not right down there, so takes a slide by at the double of verticals, and I think he's pulling up there. Yeah, puts the hand up, deciding to retire there for Patricio Pascal and Cabba Blue.
Just 2 remaining. This gentleman owned by Camille LeBlanc of Seattle, Washington. This is Kaiser Von Head Lumber. The rider, Caitlin Campbell.
And Caitlin Campbell now, Kaiser Van Het Lambroek, the 12-year-old by Nabab Dorev. On the Road Runners squad. Several recent competitors too of that Las Vegas World Cup. And then just leaves us Anna Duff left to come.
Yeah, 8th in the World Cup in Las Vegas for Caitlin Campbell with this horse. Also had a 5th place in a 2-phase competition there. This horse was formerly with Juan Carlos Garcia, Sean Cassidy, and then back in 2020 with Cassio Rivetti, who unfortunately has now been pipped into 11th place, so won't be coming forward in the next round. Earlier on this year, the horse was on the podium in a 2-star Grand Prix in Tryon with Juan Carlos Garcia. And that's unfortunate. unfortunately not their day today, but it is a relatively new partnership. Just sensibly taking the fence on the way out.
Well, right now, 10th position held by Kendall Bourgeois and Flinton M. all come down to this final round.
So top 10 sees Connor Swale at the top of it. Likely that he will still be there. And now it is going to be Kendall Bourgeois still in the 10th place at the moment. But still one that could beat them yet is now to Anna Duff. Anna with this former ride of Nick Gamboa until recently. It's Interactive Mortgage Kayano, 9-year-old for Anna from Ireland, who's made her way over here to California for the big shows over these 2 weeks.
Yeah, and this is actually the horse that won the 2-star Grand Prix in our first week in Monterey with Nicholas Gamboa.
Oh, just now having had that second fence, just still can get in on the 4. It's going to have to be a quick 4 under 80.24, which is Kendall Bourgeois' time so far with Flinton M. Goes somewhat wide there. It's a very new ride for Anna as well. Confidently through the double. And that will put pay to that one. So top 10 will be Kendall Bourgeois, Nile Nassar, Toro Parada, Kyle King, Jordan Coyle, Daniel Coyle, Lily Keenan, Amy Miller, Simon McCarthy, and Connor Swale. Going in reverse order of that for round 2. Anna Duff, meanwhile, on the 12 faults at this stage.
But again, as with another horse that we saw earlier at this early stage, it's worth her getting the experience around this course, isn't it?
Just finishing on 16 then at 83.92. It's a new ride for Anna Interactive Mortgage Kayano. 16 in total. Top 10 determined for round 2. So we're going to get set for that here on a beautiful morning here in California. And we'll see Connor Swale in pole position going last. Simon McCarthy in the final few as well. In fact, a little bit of a battle for the teams coming in there, because there's a little bit of team pride in here, because there's 2 for Eye Candy and 1 for Helios in there as well, with Simon McCarthy and Connor Swale and Amy Miller. But of course, we put that to one side. Of course, it is the rivalries that will continue, though, with the top 10 like this. As you see, first to go will be Kendall Bourgeois, Flinton, Nile Nassar, Jiminy Cricket, Toro Parada, Pandora. So these are reverse order. So this is the order they will go in. Kyle King, Etalon, Jordan Coyle, followed by his brother Daniel, Lee Keenan, Amy Miller, penultimate combination, Simon McCarthy, and then last to go, Connor Swale and Theo 160. So those qualifying for the second round, they'll go back to a 0 score, so they'll all be on 0. We will be back as well in a few minutes for this Talus winning round 5-star.
coming back for the jump off. So we were guaranteed a 10 in the jump off. They will come back in this order. Kendall Bourgeois, followed by Niall Nassar, Arturo Perana Viejo, Kyle King, Jordan Coyle, Daniel Coyle, Lily Keane, Amy Miller, Simon McCarthy, Connor Swell. Those are the 10 riders coming back in that order for the jump off. Jump off. Well, you know, we have $74,200 up for grabs. Jump off fence number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A and B from there on fence number 15. That has the white rails, the white and blue standards, that vertical, and the white rails with the blue accents. Fence number 15, and then fence number 13, the gallop down to our CP signature fence. Fence number 13, that is the final one in the jump off. 290 meters, that is our length. Coming out in the jump off around 47 seconds. And these riders and horses, they come back with clean slates.
Well, getting set for the second round. That's what it looks like going in reverse order. Forget the fours. They all start on 0, so those are the scores from round 1. Back with a clean slate then for the second round. Kendall Bourgeois will start us off. Connor Swale will complete the lineup with Theo 160. And in the meantime, it'll be Niall Nassar, Arturo Parada, Kyle King, Jordan Coyle, Daniel Coyle, Lily Keenan, Amy Miller, and Simon McCarthy.
First rider back.
Off we go then with our first of the lineup then. Booking their place into round 2 is Kendall Bourgeois and Flint and M. So shortened course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A and B. That's the easy bit to remember. And then we bring a new fence in at fence 15 at the blue and white vertical, and then back to 13, the CP fence, as the last on course as it was in the first round. So winding up with Kendall Bourgeois and Flint and M as the first to go. There's tight turn back as it was. We can make this even tighter this time. Interesting, just bent the line out there, whether intentional or not, but just moved out there, gave themselves a little bit more space down to that skinny. Unfortunately, that's the fence that caused a lot in first round, and just steps into that. Little touch on the vertical, coming up to the CP fence, the last on the 4 then for Kendall Bourgeois and Flint and M. So 4 at 39.32. And so we'll see where that puts them in the overall lineup. As we say, we go in reverse order, so we get faster and faster, if you like, or potentially faster and faster with those that had quick first rounds. And so we're going to work through some of those on the 4s. But she will finish on 4 from round 2. Doesn't add in the score from round 1. Of course, it's back to 0. So just on the 4, 39.32 for Kendall Bourgeois and Flint and M. And it's on to Jiminy Cricket and Niall Nassar for the Evergate Stables now. Jiminy, 11-year-old by Calestis. Yeah, an interesting jump off. It's taking some, going to take some real care in the early fences as well, having seen how they've played out a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in these first few fences, we did see a lot of problems in round 1, so they do have to tackle them once again. But as you say, hopefully they can be taking some tighter lines in this jump off.
Good, I was going to say, going in there really well. Just released coming into that fence and just has that fence down, unfortunately. Still keeping this tight for a fast 4, because that could get you into some very good prize money here as well. 39.32 from Kendall Bourgeois. She's actually quicker than he was, finishing on the 4 at 40.77. Shows how good Kendall's round was just at the last moment. Just leans into that first part of that line from 3 to 4. So they finish on the 4 faults. Kendall Bourgeois at the top at the moment with just the 2 gone. Arturo Parada and Pandora 258, the experienced 14-year-old Hanoverian mare. Again, it's a jump off that's got a little bit of patience about it as well, just down a couple of those lines.
4 clears in round 1. Be interesting to see how many we have here in the jump off, though. This is very quick round the turn.
Gets there on the 7. Is it going to be too much here, though? No, he gets it right.
He just really kept the pace up down there. That was very bold.
Just opened up right down that line. Worked for them. Left this up so far. Lands out of there in 20 seconds. This is going to be very quick. Oh, but it's going to be too quick for them to leave that vertical up. On the 4, it's going to be a fast time as we would expect at 35.06 on the 4 for Arturo Parada. Very good effort. Just trying to take that one on the turn, and as they're turning in the air, just loses a fraction of the height. And so down it comes on the 4. Leads so far, 35.06 for Arturo Parada at this point. Shows what is possible, though. He took, 4 seconds just over off the previous times. Arturo Parada then setting up a good pace as we'll look to Kyle King now, looking to emulate his win from a few weeks ago. Little look back to this vertical. Kyle King and Echelon then.
It would be a pretty impressive run of form if Kyle King was to win this, following those 2 wins in Monterey with Etalon.
Good start. Gets down there on the 4 as a few might. 5 just might leave you a little bit tight as it was in the first round. They can now open up and take a run at it, and almost better for having a run at it. This is where they've got to be just a little bit careful. He just edges out to the left to give himself some space and gets home with a very good round for Kyle King, and Echelon going clear 35.59. That's a very good one to take some catching. Arturo Parada, of course, was 35.06, but with a fence down 35.59 is a comparison there for Kyle King and Etalon. Pushes for home. So the 2 Coyle brothers. Jordan Coyle going first, Daniel Coyle going second.
Jordan quite a pace up coming. He looks like he's a man on a mission.
Always is. That's the 7. Just holds, though, for the vertical, and it doesn't work. Kyle King, we saw really attacking those 2 lines. Paid off for him. His brother Daniel is watching from just across. Whether that affects his plan or not, we will see. But, unfortunately, not happening at the last. They're wrong there. Finishes on a score of 8:36.45. And, yeah. Takes them into 5th of our group so far. So Dan drops down. So the likes of Kendall Bourgeois moving up, if you like, based on a position from round 1. Same with Arturo Parada and Kyle King. Daniel Coyle then, with Ivory TCS for Ariel Grange.
So hang on, Daniel, just hold on for a
Just-
second. We got a broken rail.
Yeah, just got a broken rail. They're going to change there. So will be just a moment. Arena team very quickly have a spare one. There we go. All painted and ready to go.
Ever prepared.
As we just reset that rail on course for Daniel Coyle.
It's a little bit there. Take the broken pole out. That'll do for the barbecue later. But it is going to be 5 left with Daniel Coyle, Lily Keenan, Amy Miller, Simon McCarthy, and Connor Swale left. So this could get very fast indeed. Sharp turn.
Quickly away as well from that fence.
Good pace so far. Daniel, very sharp move away from fence 4. Coming into this strongly. Lands out of there in 22, so maybe a fraction back, we'll see. Looking good. Time to beat 35.59. It's going to be close between them. He may just edge it. Reaches for the line, 34.72. Yes, he does. And Daniel Coyle now in the lead with Ivory TCS on the 9-year-old. So there now is the new leader. Now, interestingly, of course, all these were on 4 faults in round 1. So they've had a good shot at it. The clear round riders are coming up in a second, but they get the only advantage they get is they go later on in the order now.
But Daniel certainly didn't leave much room there for anybody else. Could be a second win of the week for him.
Could be yet. Could be wet. Yes, of course, he's already had some good wins behind him here. Lily Keenan, Amy Miller, Simon McCarthy, and Connor Swale left to go. Lily Keenan then, and Agana Van Het Ganendel said Aggie, the 11-year-old by Ganix Seigneur. Has the pace and ability, gives the... It was just a little pat. Right. Hold for a second, and then new target 34.72 set by Daniel Coyle, taking full advantage of having got into that second round despite on the 4 faults. But that's what I say is the competition is all about. It's about qualifying. She's definitely going for the wind-up. This horse just gets so tidily over a fence, just picks everything up.
Yeah, no time wasted at all.
Again, she just moved out to give herself the space to get the 5. Didn't want to risk running for the 4. But it puts her a second or so back from Daniel Coyle. This time 34.72. She's not going to be ahead of him. Means Daniel's essentially moved up a little, but 36.05 is into third for Lily Keenan. Big move up for Kyle King after his clear as well at 35.59. Lily Keenan there, 36.05, going into third so far.
And she certainly wasn't wasting any time, but that really shows you how fast Daniel Coyle was. You know, he's more than a second faster than Lily Keenan.
So Amy Miller, Cristiano for Canada. Daniel Coyle has set a very fast attacking run. But Amy Miller, the way she's setting up for this, is going to try and give him a run for his money as well. Oh, I was going to say got very tight there. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. Just too close, I'm afraid. Makes the line there okay. 4 faults, best they can do is 4th place. Toro Parada in that at the moment on 35.06. for them, it is going to be, if you like, a move down the order. Finishing on the 4:37.2 for a Miller into 5th place with Cristiano. Good round, but just really trying to take it on the edge there for the Marshall Sterling fence. Gets close, was just trying to get a really accurate shot, and it just by the tiniest fraction didn't work out. Very good effort by Amy into 5th place so far. Daniel Coyle still leading on 34.72 with 2 left to go. 2 left to go. Let's go. Okay. Simon McCarthy, Connor Swale, 2 for the Irish.
So either way, it will be an Irish win.
Yes, Daniel Coyle at the top as well. Yeah.
Yes. But certainly Simon and Connor, I'm sure, will be absolutely going for it. And if anybody can beat that time, it could be one of these two.
Interesting. Comes on a different approach.
Same approach that Daniel took.
Nice balanced run. Gets the 7 down here. Also goes for the 4. Gets that confidently, quickly away from 4. Just taking a little more care coming in here. Lands out of there in 23. I think Daniel even was a little bit tighter than that. That's a very tight turn into the vertical. If he pulls this off, 34.72 stands a small chance, but it's not going to be enough. 34.95, and so we'll go. In fact, just I think having that last fence down by the looks of it. So finishing on the 4, 34.95 would have gone second. So on the 4 there for Simon McCarthy into 4th spot. Would have gone 2nd spot with Gotcha. Daniel Coyle, though, is still edging them out at 34.72, interestingly, because he was a 4 faulter in round 1, taken full advantage of his slot, and at very worst will be second. Just Connor Swale left to go. Simon McCarthy, great effort there with Gotcha. Just leaves us one to come, making his way down from the warm-up.
Simon McCarthy and Gotcha, they just jumped into 4th place. Final heads down, big time. Arturo Romeo and Pandora 258 in 5th. 6th, Amy Miller and Cristiano. 7th, Nicholas Rothman. 8th, Burnley. Lazar and Julie Cricket. 9th, Jordan Williams and Pandora. Just one remaining. Great thanks to our wonderful sponsor, Talis. Talis is changing the luxury hospitality landscape in Coachella Valley, located at the best of the Santa Rosa Mountains, a 134-room.
So Simon McCarthy having had a very good run at Daniel Coyle's time, the world number 5 to go last, to see whether they can just squeeze just the final little bit of juice out of this. Connor Swale and Theo 160 for Team Phillip Arts, the 10-year-old Holsteiner by Christian 25. Not much left in terms of taking out strides, just pace is the probably only real element left to go for this. So Connor Swale. Good start. Again, the 7 and the 4, and it's 4 that's going to be on the scoreboard, and it's Daniel Coyle that's going to claim yet another win this week. Really putting Swale under pressure there because he just had to chase all the way around to stand a chance. Be interested to see what his final time is. Gets really tight up to there, but gets across that vertical, and it is going to be 35.98. Just takes a fraction off at the end. Finishing on 4, Connor Swale and Theo 160 into 6th place. Just not, I'm afraid, able to take full advantage of that final pole position slot, but gave it a very good try indeed. Finishes on the 4, so it's going to be Daniel Coyle with another Irish win this week with Ivory TCS this time. Kyle King so close with Echelon, good move up from him as well on 35.59. Consistency from Lily Keenan with the double clear there to put her into 3rd place in the end. Simon McCarthy in 4th with Gotcha. 5th place to Arturo Parada and Pandora. And then in 6th place to Connor Swale, Theo 160. Amy Miller in 7th. And 8th place to Kendall Bourgeois and Flinton M. That's the final lineup for this $74,200 Talis winning round 5-star. Winner is Ireland's Daniel Coyle. We're going to be back for the Grand Prix at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And thank you. We will be back a little later on. Look forward to seeing you then. And presentation coming up. It's another trophy in the direction of Daniel Coyle.
Great combination, the Talis winning round. We're going to bring our top three back to the ring. Fourth place, that goes to Simon McCarthy and Gotcha. Arturo, Parada Viejo, and Pandora 258 in fifth. Sixth, Connor Swale and Theo 160. Amy Miller, Cristiano in seventh. And the Bourgeois and Vincent M. Will take home eighth place. Ninth, Niall Nassar and Jiminy Cricket. Jordan Coyle and Picador in 10th. 11th, Ducasa Ravetti and Nadal and Haida. Liz Hears and Goodbye. They will take home 12th. It's really great to have Steve Hankin joining us on behalf of Talis. Talis is changing the luxury hospitality landscape in the Coachella Valley. Located at the best of the Santa Rosa Mountains, a 134-room Montage Hotel and a 200-room Entry Hotel will anchor this incredible desert resort for discerning guests and residents. A rare enclave of 29 Montage residences and 55 Pendry condominiums with short-term rental capability are now in offer for sale. And make sure you visit them online, www.talislaquinta.com. And just a super competition. Start with that field of 35, out of the field of 35, top 10 qualifying for that jump-off round. They wanted to be in the top 10 for a chance at the top placings. As we will bring our top three back to the ring for these presentations in just a moment. Very interesting note, as you first and second, Daniel Coyle first, Kyle King second, both in fact had a rail in the first round. But remember, they come back for this winning round on a clean slate. That was super interesting twist of fate there. Third place at our rider. Here is Lily Keenan from the USA, Ghana Von Hetz, Grendel Z. Second, that goes to Kyle King and Edelon. That winning horse there, owned by Ariel Grange of Terracotta, Ontario. That is Ivory TCS, brand new cooler, well-deserved cooler. Aboard Ivory TCS. And another win for Ireland with Daniel Coyle. And certainly quite the week for Ireland right here in the beautiful grass stadium. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to honor our champion, I would ask you to please rise as we play the national anthem of Ireland. Another win for Ireland, and that is Daniel Coyle and Ivory TCS. Second place, that's round for the USA, Kyle King and Edelon. Third place also to the USA, Lily Keenan, Agana Van Hetz, Grendel Z. And we will have the official photograph taken with Daniel Coyle and Ivory TCS. And great to have Steve Hankin joining us on behalf of Thales for the presentations here, our winning round competition. Thales is changing the luxury hospitality landscape in the Coachella Valley, located at the best of the Santa Rosa Mountains. A 134-room Montage Hotel and a 200-room Pendry Hotel will anchor this incredible desert resort for discerning guests and residents. A rare enclave of 29 Montage residences and 55 Pendry condominiums with short-term rental capability are now being offered for sale. Visit them online, thaleslaquinta.com. And just one more thing for our champion. And Daniel Coyle, if you would please lead our field in our victory ride. Here comes our champion right there aboard Ivory TCS. That is Daniel Coyle. Kyle King and Edelon in second. Third place to Lily Keenan. But again, Ireland. Another win for Ireland right here on the beautiful grass stadium. And our next competition, 1 o'clock start time. And that will be the $217,000 our Major League Show Jumping Grand Prix. That'll be up next.
We have a new leader right now.